I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very much. 1.03 is a.
Second.
Alrighty. Motion by Ms. Free- I'll give the second to Brooke. Any discussion? Favor, please.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye as well. Sorry, Mac, I guess I could have turned on a mic. That might work a little bit better for those of us hearing. Okay. Jeff, can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I got you. I was having an issue, so you turn the mic on.
It's amazing how technology works. Okay, we've got that going now.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. 1.04 is going to be introduction of our Elko County School District Student Board member, Mr. Rhett White. And Teresa, we'll turn it over to you.
Okay. Well, I am happy to introduce Rhett White. I've been watching Rhett run for quite a few years now, and he's an amazing runner and amazing at other things. So I will tell you a few more things about Rhett. He is a senior at Spring Creek High School with a 4.0 cumulative GPA. He is involved with student council and is SCHS's student body president for the 25-26 school year. Rhett is a member of Spring Creek High School cross-country team, Spring Creek High track team, NASC delegate, Ruby Mountain Running Club, and secretary of his youth church group. His future plans after graduating from high school are to serve an LDS mission and after that attend college to pursue a career in exercise science. He also plans to compete collegiately in cross-country and track and field. And I believe that's going to happen, Rhett. Anyway, welcome, Rhett. We're glad to have you with us tonight.
And 1.05 is to receive a presentation from the Elko High School Drama Club. I think we might have some folks here that are here for that.
We are thrilled to be here tonight. My beloved family and the Baikonakis, yes, are honored to be here tonight.
Father, can we please stand something?
Yes, Paloma, your light as always. Now, allow me to present the heart of our home, the keeper of all things mysterious and spooky, my beloved Morticia. And now for a little taste of the Addams Family, the musical.
You guys should probably come over here and let them switch places.
Oh, and here's Gomez and me at our wedding. Oh, what are these? Our wedding vows. That's so romantic. We promised to tango at least 3 times a week. For passion. Oh. We promised to tell each other everything. For truth.
Everything?
Of course. Are we still married? More than ever.
Boy, it sure doesn't work that way in our house.
How does it work? Well, what's good for the gander is a nice, quiet goose. If I told Mal all my secrets, all would break loose. Alice, I'm shocked. What kind of marriage is it where you keep secrets?
A long one.
Secrets are the enemies of passion. Speaking get you through the day. Truth is not a thing that one should ration, but I think you think of it that way. Never keep a sin inside the closet. Always give the facts a fighting chance. Every time you do it, a deposit. Long-term life of your romance. Keep no secrets if you want to remain your lover. Share all secrets. There's a world of things you might discover. Truth is beauty. He should always know exactly who you are. Make your secrets. Your marriage will be healthier by far. Gomez ignores me, never ignores me, always has me first. And Alice, if he should try once telling a lie once, I throw him out head first. Kneeling, he plead, I repent. Reeling, he quickly start to drown. Begging me for the but at my first appearance, I put him on the first bus out of town. His moments truly devoted, never exploited, always the paragon without doubt. And if he told you a lie, you whisper goodbye, leave him to carry on. That's it exactly. Is there no room for some discussion? If the Gomez lie, is there no chance around? A lie's a lie and lies can't fail. And life can quickly go downhill. She kept a secret and she wound up on the guillotine. Now I see what you mean. She kept a secret and they shot her with an M16. That's not a pretty scene. She kept a secret and she wound up on the cover of a magazine. She's quite the Philistine. What's this one? The dance routine. Honesty with no resistance. Then your marriage, loving kind of coexistence. Lies and secrets, they are the sins that keep a husband from the world. God is me, he would never keep us secret. His life, keep a secret, no, the secret is his life.
Wasn't that just magnificent? And remember, there were absolutely no secrets in our house.
Gomez. Yes! Thank you for letting us haunt your evening. We warmly invite you to our home, May 8th through the 10th, for the full musical experience.
Shows are 6 p.m. nightly with a 2 p.m. matinee on Friday.
It would be deliciously unforgettable. We hope to see you there. Thank you for having us here tonight. I'm Travis, the president of Troop 309. We appreciate you letting us be here. It was an honor to perform. It was great. We're open to any questions. If you guys have any questions at all. Thank you.
I don't have a question. I just always enjoy your performances. So thank you very much. And thank you, Mrs. Hawkins.
Thank you.
I have a question. How many hours do you guys think you guys have rehearsed in order to get it where it needs to be for shows?
More than one.
Well, okay, so we rehearse 2 hours every single night.
Wow.
And we've been doing it for 3 months.
3 months.
3 months now.
And then we
Well,
have
2.5 months.
Friday rehearsals all day.
Yeah,
So 8
Fridays
hours.
we're here from 9 to 4. So it's a lot of hours.
Well, you're very dedicated and I can tell you've put a lot of work in. You guys did fabulous and I'm really excited. I'm actually chaperoning a field trip on Thursday, so I get to come watch.
Nice.
Yeah, and it'll be the best because then I get to hear all the little kids' reactions to your awesome acting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very wonderful.
I just wanted to say thank you so much, yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
say great job.
Thank you
It was
very
so
much,
fun.
it's
Thank you for
fantastic.
coming.
It's wonderful to see this program continue to bloom at the Fine Arts Center, or at the, whatever the Arts Center is placed, but Performing Arts, there you go. It's fantastic, and I appreciate your instructors have been doing fantastic with this whole program. You guys, all the work you put in, you guys sound fantastic, even in this flat, dead room. You guys sounded great, so.
Pun on dead.
Oh, not on purpose, but yes, yeah, I'll take credit for that. I will take credit for that, yeah.
Mr. Durham, do you have anything that you wanted to add?
Just bravo. That was cool, even from here.
Well done. Thank you very much, and break a leg.
You know, I had to share, from my view, I could only kind of see the back and I was like, what in the world is going on? That's all explained now.
Makes a little bit more sense now that you have context. All right, continuing on with our agenda 1.06 is recognition of our March S.T.A.R.S recipients. Mr. Anderson.
Yeah, that's me. Thank you. So first, we're gonna read two of them tonight. The first one is not here, and then we'll finish up with our friend who is here. So some of you know Mr. Don Smales. He is our supervisor of transportation, so he's kind of Seth's right-hand man up there with all things transportation. So he's pretty incredible. Been with our district for a real long time and makes transportation work, and just a great guy to be around too. And he received 2 nominations, and I'm going to read both of those real quick. And he couldn't or wouldn't come to a board meeting to get recognition. I don't know which, but he said he wouldn't be able to make it. So the first nomination reads, "Where do I even begin? Don comes to work every day with a smile on his face. He greets everyone and makes everyone feel welcomed. He takes the time to visit with each employee and make sure that he is giving them all the help that he can. He has a tough task of making sure all the Elko routes are as soon as they can be. He holds his composure pretty well while being screamed at by angry people," which unfortunately happens sometimes. Don has showed me how to be a better person and friend. He genuinely goes out of his way for others around him. He always makes sure to check in with other employees when they were out sick or he knows they aren't feeling well to make sure they feel better. He always thanks the employees for showing up and putting on a good front, even when it's hard to do. I truly believe that without him, we would not be running as smooth as we do. I really hope that he gets recognized for his hard work and true commitment to his employees. And the other nomination says, "I am nominating Mr. Don Smales because he represents everything that someone should be. He has always treated my wife with respect and helped her out when she needed it. He's always been a great friend and has helped my wife through tough times. He treats everyone with the kindness of his heart, even when they haven't treated him very well. I've been there when he got a phone call. Someone was screaming at him. Again, someone was screaming at him using words that weren't appropriate, and he always kept his cool and tried to help them as best as he could. He is a hard worker." So that's Mr. Don Smales, and both of those great explanations of what he does and goes out of his way to be kind. Sometimes it's tough to keep your composure when people are attacking you. And Don does a great job of being level-headed and been representing our district well. So we were glad to be able to acknowledge him as one of our stars this last month. So congratulations to Don. And our other one who is here with us today is Miss Marnie Crozier. And we're going to ask her to come forward so everyone can look at her while I read this. Come on forward. You can stand kind of right near the podium. If you want to give a speech, you'll have the opportunity, but this probably sums it up pretty well anyway. So this person who wanted to remain anonymous, and Miss Crozier is from West Wendover Elementary School, and she came here to be with us today, so we really appreciate that. The nomination reads, "I would like to nominate Ms. Crozier. First and foremost, thank you, Mrs. Crozier. Thank you for the great teacher that you are, for your kindness, the patience you carry with each child, and positive classroom environment. Because of you, my little ones love to learn and make it to school every day and feel supported at school. You teach in ways they understand and help her catch on to things quick. I have seen a huge improvement in her this year from when she started the school year. Your love for teaching still shows with these kids. If my child tells me she loves school or today was a good day, I had fun, often still this far in the year, that right there is a huge plus." And what doesn't say in here is that Mrs. Crozier retired and didn't have to be in the classroom, but she came back as a critical needs teacher, and she is showing how critically needed she is and the amazing impact she's having on students still. Teaching kindergarten in West Wendover choosing to teach kindergarten, even though she could be retired. So it was to be in her classroom was a really wonderful experience. The kids were it was just like a happy, welcoming environment. There's nothing like walking into a classroom of kindergartners and getting hugs, and I got plenty of them and high fives, and it was just amazing. So thank you so much for being here with us still. Really glad we could recognize you and acknowledge the hard work you're doing. Yeah.
Thank you.
And before we move on, just a thank you to our sponsors for always making the S.T.A.R.S Awards possible, and that's to Leanne's Floral Designs, Maverick Gaming, the Rotary Club of Elko Desert Sunrise, the S.T.A.R, LPT Gaita Real Estate Group, and Fratelli Pizza. They jumped in and contributed as well. So thank you to all of our sponsors.
Yes, thank you very much. Okay, 1.07 is input from the public, if any. Seeing none, we'll move right on to 2.01. 2.01 is receipt, review, and possible permission to go out to bid for the annual asphalt maintenance. This is for possible action. Mr. Stolke.
Good evening, everybody. So, yeah, just annual maintenance on, I believe we're going to be doing Adobe, Liberty Peak, Grammar, Northside, Sage, Southside, and Ruby Valley. Last year's, it was pretty similar square footage, and that bid came in at 391,000. So we budgeted about 400,000 this year, and we'll see where we end up.
Thank you, sir. Comments or questions from the board? What is the pleasure of the board?
I
Oh, go ahead.
moved- Go ahead.
Last question is, so we've already budgeted this, right? We're not, like the 400K we've already put into our budget.
Yeah.
Like this is our
It's just the
annual-
annual maintenance that
Annual maintenance we do. I just want for the record, a lot of folks don't follow from year to year. So but this is in the budget. We have budgeted overtime to do this. Okay, just making sure. Thank you.
I move to grant permission to go out for bid for the annual asphalt maintenance.
Second.
All right, there's a motion on the table with a second. Further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Any opposed? Motion passes. 2.02 is receipt, review, and possible permission to go out to bid for Grammar number 2 office relocation for possible action. Mr. Stolke,
Okay.
you again.
So we've got some numbers from architects and mechanical engineer for the space relocation. We're looking at $170,000 for mechanical for this space. We all know Grammar doesn't have any AC or any cooling, so it would be AC in there and then providing heat to the different offices in that space. We weren't going to move the nurse's office over, but they kind of, requested that, and so we accommodated that request. And I think you guys have a plan that you guys can kind of look at that kind of shows the space of the classroom remodel. And then we're looking at probably about estimate of about 310,000 to do the office remodel. So that would be, structural stuff, because we've got to open up that CMU wall and then secure point entry for the school as well. So all new doors, camera, magnetic door locks for that space as well. So,
Madam, sorry, did you say open up a CMA wall?
CMU, sorry. So,
Okay.
yeah, like a brick wall. Yes, just one classroom. When you come off of 6th Street and you come in to Grammar, it's the classroom on the right-hand side right there, if that makes sense.
So they will have security. It'll be good to go when they're done.
Yeah, they're going to get all the new bells and whistles on this project that we hope to be doing on every other project moving forward, but we might as well just do it now while we're doing the new space.
Additional discussions or comments from Matt?
Do you know what their plans are for the other office space then? Will it turn into?
Talking to the principal over there, Sean, I think he was talking about doing some maybe speech therapy or some sort of, just kind of repurposing the offices for kind of smaller interactions with, but yeah, physically, construction-wise, we weren't going to touch it right now. So we're just going to leave it there. They can use it for storage or whatever. And he has room to move this classroom around and go from there.
And this will eliminate the gate that goes into the playground of that having to be open?
Correct. And yeah, this is all part of kind of a security plan that we've been brought it to our attention. So that's why we kind of move forward on this.
Matt, go ahead, please, Brooke.
Okay, so when I was looking through the agenda, I know that there's another agenda item following this. But back in November, when this first got brought up, it got brought up together. It was the relocation of the offices and then also the boilers at the school.
Correct.
And the estimate in November and then again talked about in our February 4th meeting was 1.2 million. And when you add up the 480,000, I added up the numbers prior to when the change was made on our agenda. But when you add those two up, I'm trying to see where my paper is. Maybe I left it at home. Anyways, it comes out to just under, well, it came out to just under 3 million for both of them. And now that we're adding on the 170,000 extra, it's going to be close to 3 million, maybe a little over.
So that's why I brought this agenda item to you guys. I wanted, we were thinking maybe it'd be about 200,000 to do, but then when we really started getting into design and everything like that, we come up with a hard number, like not hard number, but a closer number for this project. That's why I wanted these to be separated and brought to the board for your guys' review, basically. So if you wanted to move forward with office relocation and have a solid number, that's why this is on the agenda.
Separated out from the boilers. And
Yes.
so I kind of have to jump ahead to just kind of make a point to the next agenda item, the list that he has on there, the facilities and construction update, which I printed that out also before it was updated. But we have what was going to be 1.2 million, we thought, for the relocation of the offices and the boilers is now closer to 3 million, maybe a little bit more. And then if you look on this, it talks about Elko High School needing, we need to look into design and cost for Elko High School boilers. We need to look into design and cost for Jackpot High School boilers. And then we've got the old central roof bids that are coming in on May 8th and the parking lot here at central office. And I think, am I missing anything else? Anyways, I'm just wondering if we move forward and spend the 480,000 on relocating the offices at the grammar number 2 school, when now the boilers are significantly higher in cost, what that's going to do to the rest of the needs that we have on our
Sure. Do we
CIP.
just want to dive into the boilers right now, or do we want?
Because my thoughts are, I know this is just a lot of money and I know it's for student safety and that's really important, but I just, after reading, CJ sent us what was that called that was done at Grammar? It was like a security.
Yeah, the name of it, sorry, the acronym is the HVA, Health and Violence Assessment or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, because that was my question is if
Hazard
we
and
have
vulnerability
other,
assessment.
Thank you.
yeah,
Hazard and vulnerability, thank you.
yeah. if we have other schools that have significant need of boilers and different things like that, just to maintain heat in our schools, which we use for most of the year, would it be better to try and do like a fenced corridor or walkway to keep guests at grammar number 2 separate from students, to have that safety issue be addressed, but not at a total of 480,000 right now, when there might be more significant things listed on the CIP that need to be handled before relocating those offices at grammar
Yeah,
number
we all
2?
know we don't have enough money to do the projects that we need to do.
So Matt, I'm going to interject for just a moment. 2.03 is a non-action item, so we'll go ahead and combine both of these. And that way you can go back and forth as need be, a little bit cleaner. So
Okay.
just remember, when we make a motion, if there is a motion, it'll be for 2.02. Go ahead, Matt. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, so the boilers, what happened, not what happened, I think we had a proposal March 5th of last year, and we were thinking it was $904,000 to just replace the boilers at Grammar. And then during design, and the design is, with the mechanical engineer and myself, we go through a lot of that stuff, and we start realizing we've got a lot of broken pipes that are going to have to be replaced with this system. We thought maybe originally we could keep the units in the classroom for this project, but looking into all that stuff, we realized like all of this needs to be replaced. So it's going to be basically a big mechanical upgrade. I would have loved to do a cooling tower there as well and provide cooling, but we pulled that out just because we knew that was going to end up, pushing this budget even higher. So basically the difference between the 1.2 and now this 2.6 for the mechanical upgrade. Now it's basically a full mechanical upgrade for Grammar. I didn't want to move forward and do just boilers and then have other parts of the system break down. And then we're going back and forth. And, then I'm coming to you guys again and saying, I need another, $300,000 to replace piping there. I need another $100,000 to replace units there. So we just did a full mechanical upgrade, and that's the price difference, Brooke, at that really. So.
Couple notes.
Go ahead. Sure.
Is it okay if I jump in?
Please.
A couple notes just from a financial standpoint. Just as a reminder, because we're about to get into this process again, when you do your CIP every year, you are making your best projection you possibly can based on information you have at that time and what you know the most pressing needs are. And so looking at our CIP as was presented in July, while some things come in over, for example, of what we expected, we also find areas where, at that time we thought we had a pretty good feel about going ahead with a geothermal upgrade, and we started setting aside money for years. And so we'd allocated $250,000 this year, $300,000 next year, and $250,000 the year after that. That's not happening anymore for this project, as was thought at that time. So that's $800,000 that we had designated for something else that we can, of course, repurpose for this now, or for whatever other project if it's not this one. But priorities shift around. We also, as we see in item 4 on the CIP, for example, like for next year, we have $2.2 million that are allocated for specifically ADA, other renovations, mechanical upgrade. You leave kind of some room for things that occur that become bigger in scope than what you thought they were going to be. So there's flexibility there as far as the money we thought budgeted. We currently have somewhere in the neighborhood of about 11 million in pay-as-you-go that is accessible. And then we're also, of course, waiting for that July 1 date where we can take the 20-cent tax allocation that the county has designated for us and apply that towards matching funds from the state, which we anticipate, assuming that happens. I know it's an assumption, but it's one we feel is going to go okay. That's hopefully $10 million we have for next year that we, at this time, didn't know we were going to have when we put this together. So We, again, thought we could, but didn't know for sure. So just a few things to consider because of just, yeah, as you said, Brooke, and as Matt said, and we're all thinking it's this much for this many things we have to do, right? So it's kind of the burden of him and for you to prioritize what's most needed right now. And so I can appreciate the position you're in, but just want to give a little more context to the I guess there isn't much flexibility when you're with this much money, but some things that we thought we were going to be spending money on this year, we haven't spent that money because that project wasn't a project anymore. So just something to think about.
Jeff, did you have something?
Yeah, I just had a question regarding the square footage of this project, and what that entails. My best guess from the drawing there was about 1,200. Was that accurate?
It's, yep, about that, maybe a little bigger. It's a good sized classroom, yes.
So that puts the cost right around $400 a square foot. Is that within? It seems high where it's not new construction to me.
It's actually a little bit lower than that, Jeff. I was just looking at that today and I should have wrote it down. I apologize, but I think it was some closer to $350 per square foot, actually, for the
Okay.
space.
Is that in line with the remodel? Like say it, I mean, we're just looking at costs. They're continually escalating, but it still seems like some of the construction projects we've looked at, we're building new for about that, or is it's gone even higher?
I think new, probably performing arts and Owyhee were closer to $700 per square foot.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's a lot of money for an office, but there's a ton of exposed conduit, exposed electrical in this space. All the lighting is going to have to be redone. Ceiling's going to have to be built, walls. It's kind of a bigger scope than just kind of building an office and moving it over. That's why I guess
Understood. I just wanted to get those numbers straight. Thank you.
Sure.
Matt, go ahead, Susan.
Just out of curiosity, if we didn't do the remodel, what's your best guesstimate of what it would take to secure other areas in the meantime until that could be done?
I mean, we all know Grammar's layout and how that is. It would be, I think that's why it got brought up onto this plan to show us that we kind of had a deficiency there. So anything's possible in construction, right? You can build anything, but how much of the playground are we going to have to take out? How are we going to have to set that up? And yeah, we'd have to go down the hole and figure that out.
Oh.
Yeah, so the office is basically in the center of the school,
Yeah.
Center of the playground. So they have to keep a gate open to let parents get onto the playground, which we're losing control of access to the school, so.
Matt, is there, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, if you're interested in another perspective, I know I've heard from multiple SROs about the layout, and I'm sure Officer Hildreth has spent some time over there at Grammar before, and so if you'd like to, not to put you on the spot, officer, but if you wanted his opinion or his thoughts on the matter, I'm sure he'd be willing to share.
Yeah, I think I talked to Clint Ratliff, and he was saying that was his biggest concern in our school district. So he's one of our SROs. And so.
Obviously understanding that Jackpot High School and Elko High School, maybe Jackpot's not quite, huge compared to Grammar, but they're both bigger. But do we anticipate the underlying issues that drove the cost up at Grammar to be happening at Elko and Owyhee? Do we have these old systems that are going to require massive pipe replacement and or individual classroom units?
What we're running into at Grammar is a building that's 100 years old. Steam boiler that's been in there since 1995 has eroded a lot of the pipes that steam is very corrosive, right? So it's eroded a lot of the pipes, and then we don't really have these classroom units anywhere else just because it's an old system, an old school. You're going to have more of a traditional duct system in a lot of these schools. At Elko High School, yes, it's steam, but it's just kind of piping that goes through to the additional buildings. So you got the new building, senior building, junior building. So we're already aware of that and we're kind of looking into that ahead of time. So we're not going to have a ton of issues that way, but they're just old boilers and we've kind of worked with putting them back down in that same area. So it's a lot easier tie-in. If we have to replace a little bit, it'll be there.
So would it be anticipated there'd be less variability with the bid or with the true cost versus what the estimated cost is up front?
Yeah, and I think, moving forward, we know we have limited funds. I think my plan is the roof at Old Central, the boilers need to happen at Grammar, and then we're just going to wait and see where we end up. Elko High would be next, and then we see the funds that we have and we address the issues that pop up and go from there. So.
Okay, two more questions. In regards to that last comment that you made, as far as waiting to see what funds come in, if we elected not to put in the $480,000 to make Grammar more secure, will we be able to use that money towards to complete any other project?
I wouldn't say to complete. I think in all this stuff, right, is an estimate from an engineer, and then you start diving into all that stuff. So I've had our engineer kind of just basically kind of get a rough estimate at Elko High School and Jackpot and then just stop. So we're not paying additional engineering costs and stuff like that until we kind of know where we're at with funds. So I think we're looking at maybe 1.3 for Elko High School. And then I didn't really have them look too hard into Jackpot because I've got some engineers and different people from California kind of coming in, and maybe we can fine tune our system and kind of get it to limp along for a few years. I mean, the real reason we're kind of looking at that, we're just dumping a ton of maintenance money into this building. So where do we stop and pull back and go, okay, this system isn't working. It's not built for Jackpot. What do we do from here? So.
Okay, obviously the 1.3 being a very rough guess for
Yes,
Elko.
right.
Okay. I'm looking at this and I understand that it's a relocation of the office, but I really look at this as a security aspect. We are having a point of control that we don't have.
Yes.
Are there any other schools that are, okay, how do I phrase this without?
Just in the same predicament.
Basically, yeah, that has a similar situation from a control standpoint?
No, a lot of, I would say this would be the worst, right? We have an office located in the middle of a playground. I don't really know of any
No
other
direct
schools.
access other than through the
I can think
playground.
yeah, I mean, I can think of a few schools where there's some other, like, I don't know, if you want me to go into ones off the top of my head, I can, but there's probably a few, but there are many more that I think of and I'm like, okay, no, we're good there, we're good there, we're good there. But there's a couple that if I had my way, I would address those as well.
Yeah, and we could address it with maybe like a vestibule build out that would kind of help traffic and, access, but not like this one right in the middle, so.
Okay, thank you. Additional comments or questions from the board? Dr. Byers.
I had a couple. So I do want to kind of give grace here. I'm in charge of a remodel for another board I'm on, and we've run into the same issue. Originally, the quotes we had, and this is a house that's being remodeled for a church. So, I mean, it is what it is, but it's still fairly commercial. And we don't have the 30% we have to add on for prevailing wage stuff. But we had a quote for 1 week, and then within 2 weeks, one of the quotes we accepted had been missed by the company, and they 2 weeks later went to go bid supplies, and it had doubled the price of what they had. So I can totally understand the volatility of what we're seeing. We're seeing that with Hawaii too as well. And so like kind of giving grace to the fact that like, yeah, this stuff it's insane how quickly this stuff's moving. And it's not even that it's just the supplies, it's a supplier that wants to add to it. So
Yes.
I have a friend that's in the supply company and he has a supplier for something that he gets for the mines. And the supplier is adding double what they think the tariffs potentially could be for those supplies. And he's like, that's not how that works. And they're like, we don't care. So it's not even like it can be anything, anywhere, for whatever.
Right.
So, and then the other thing was, it seems like this is a safety issue. But also, I don't want this to be, and again, I'm gonna get myself in trouble here, but I don't want this to be like the pool scenario where at what point, just like you said, do we make the decision that we're no longer going to maintain something that's failing and start putting funds towards revamping that? And so I just want to put that on the table. You know, that's what that board decided to do with the pool. They thought that was the best decision. And in the end, some argue that it's not, and that's why we're stuck with the pool scenario that we have now. And I just don't want this to be something like that, where we're stuck with a 100-plus-year-old school and then we can't have kids in there because it is, you know. And the last thing I want to say is I drove around some of the schools, even in the Reno area this weekend, and I saw some of the schools that they're working with too. So they don't all have all brand new schools. Some of their schools in certain areas are they're just as old as ours. So we're not alone in this scenario where we have to decide what kind of money. So maybe the state of Nevada should, help us out in that sense, since we're just an extension of the state of Nevada in this area. So, but I appreciate all the work you're doing. These guys are throwing some hard questions at you, and you're doing fantastic. So I appreciate that. But I appreciate your hard questions, guys, because it shows that you guys care in what we're doing too. So.
And then just a little bit for context, I think what I would like to do is probably built into this price is a bid alternate for the gym to provide AC. We have the opportunity to put in a unit there, so at least the kids would have AC in the gym. I pulled back on having a dual unit in the classrooms that could provide cooling if we ever did put a cooling tower in there, just because the added cost, not necessarily that, but it would be the added cost of the additional piping for that. So
I just want to put this, I went to Grammar and we didn't have it. So I would appreciate it as a alum of Grammar. That would be great to do that. And having PAL basketball in there, oh my gosh. So anyways, and Grammar, as you know, has been set up like this since I went there decades ago. So.
I think what I would like moving forward, I think the best cost-effective thing, we would put an air chiller in there and then do ducting and piping through kind of the hallway and classrooms. It wouldn't look the best, but that would be our best bet with our limited funds. So that's the route I've chosen.
But that is not part of this
No,
necessarily.
not part of
Okay.
this. I just giving you guys context to the whole.
Great.
So
thank you. Further comments or questions?
I would love to hear some thoughts from Officer Hildreth on, kind of the safety issue, if he wouldn't mind sharing.
Well, safety's kind of what I excel in, because it's what you guys pay me to be at the schools for. Grammar it's the oldest school we have, and all of our schools, I mean, they've all got their own issues, but it's definitely the one that doesn't have a secure access point. I think, and I'm not an attorney, but being all over the country and being involved in researching the different school shootings and things that happen, I also get a look at the after effects of those things and the fallouts and the lawsuits and those things. And so I think when we, in my opinion, when we pay somebody as a district to do these safety assessments, as we do every year, and then we get these recommendations back from the professionals, and they recommend things we should do, some of those things we can't do it, obviously, because the money isn't there. And you can't make a district or an entity liable if there's no money to do those things. But on the improvements, if we have the money available to do those things, especially those high priority items, which I know talking to Mr. K, who does our school safety assessments, that's definitely the number one priority, especially for Grammar, is that one-point access needs to be done. And if we have the money to do those things and we don't do it and something happens, then we're opening the checkbook anyways. And it's gonna, obviously, you can't put a dollar sign on our students' lives. And that's my feelings. If I don't know what you guys' budget is, you guys pay the bills, but if there's money and it needs to be done and we have the money, then we should do it. That's my feelings. And Since you're asking while I'm up here, all of our schools need hardened entries. And we have the money to harden our entries. It needs to be done, and we haven't done it, and we failed at doing that. And hardening our entries, to me, there's no excuse for not doing them in the level that we can do them. And I think we have failed as a district to do that. And I know this is a lot bigger project at Grammar, but if we have the money, it should be done. That's my opinion.
Thank you, sir.
There's comment to that too as well, just to his point, is when you go through the report, they actually have other things on there where they talk about, different glass that they want to do. They talk about putting a laminate as opposed to just replacing it. So it seems as though they're sensitive to our financial plight at the moment. And so it seems like, this would be something that we can do too, so.
I feel like I'd like to go back more to the corridor and fencing, because I just worry that this project has gone from 1.2 million to 3 point, knows how much, over 3 million. When there are so many other needs in our district, and this obviously is a top need. The safety of our students is a top need, but is there a way to facilitate the safety of our students using fencing and locked gates and different things like that? In this report that was sent, it does talk about, I don't know exactly where, but it talks about a magnetic lock gate that can be opened at the office with like a video phone line type deal that they would buzz into the office and then be let in and go through and it talks about putting up fencing, because it says, obviously, like what we would want to do is relocate the office. That would be the best thing to do. But budget-wise, it says if that's not possible, these are the other things that can be done to secure the campus and to make sure that these kids are safe and kept separate from the guests that are trying to come into the school. And so I guess my question is, do we spend 480,000 on relocating the offices, or do we spend less than that on fencing and locked gates, electronically controlled magnetic locking gates, like what's in this report, what's suggested in the report, and then have that almost $500,000 to address other issues in our district, like leaking roofs in schools and boilers that need replaced in different schools? I just worry that we're going to spend money and we're going to get to a point where Grammar's boiler, when I talked to you on the phone today, it went out, you said. It broke down, right?
We had to shut it off and we're waiting, do we replace a bunch of parts, until we don't necessarily have to, if we get a good bid back and move forward. So yeah, basically,
right.
There's part of it that's part of the piping had broken down.
So when I hear him say, if we do this and we do the boilers, then it's kind of, sit and save up some money and wait to see when we can do these other projects. And I know CJ brought up the money that was kind of allocated towards the geothermal upgrade, but that alone doesn't even make up the difference in the cost for the boilers, let alone the almost $500,000 for relocating the offices. So I'm just wondering if there's a different route to get the outcome that we want that's actually more affordable for our district and will help us to cover the needs that are, this list of needs on the CIP is long. And if we have to push those out, you can hope and pray that a boiler at Elko High lasts another 2 or 3 years until we have the money to do it, or at Jackpot, but there's no guarantee.
No.
And to your point, I'm trying to picture how it would look, because they have fencing, but they're gonna have to put up another fence so that you open the gate, you'll have fence to the playground, so there'll be like, and you can correct me if I'm not picturing this right, so there'll be like a path sort of that you'll have the school as kind of one wall, and they'll have to put up another fence inside the playground to just kind of keep people corralled, if you will.
With
Right.
another
Yeah.
gate to allow access to the playground that would also have to be secured.
Yeah.
So there'd have to be a minimum of two gates that are magnetically controlled.
Which would only have to be locked, the ones to the playground, when kids are out for recess. Like, I'm sure there's got to be ways where
I'm just trying to picture.
Yeah, I know,
how
and
it
I'm trying to
looks,
picture
like
how it would all
you
work
do
too,
it.
but according to this, like, that was a viable option. According to this, safety report deal that CJ sent us that was done.
I'd also like to remind, though, that we're talking about the operation, so we're going to dictate the operation of a school at this point because we're not spending money on things that need to be spent. I also want to tell you this, that at some point, we're going to have to make these stupid decisions too. You know, we talked about this before. Matt brought something up when we were in Jackpot about, do we need school lunches? Because we're having to make awful decisions because we're so short on funds. So at some point, we're gonna have to make the decision anyway. And then I'd also like to remind everybody that in the community, they voted to have this problem. So they wanted this problem. They wanted to make sure that we had to suffer through whatever. And we have a safety issue. And then the answer is for us to dictate how the school is gonna be operating, whether they can or can't turn it on or open a gate or not. Like, it seems like we're diving farther than we need to dive as a board. Now, if we're not gonna give it to them, then that's up to them, however they wanna operate that. But at the end of the day, we're gonna have to make these decisions. I've been on the board for almost 4 years now. We've been talking about boilers since I've been here. That was the second conversation I had with Jason Zander in my house was, hey, look at the boilers. So, I mean, we're gonna keep talking about boilers until, I don't know, forever.
Yeah, I have quite a few years before I retire, and I probably will be dealing with it
For
my
sure.
entire time here. And it definitely keeps me up at night thinking about all our issues. So
Yeah.
it's tough.
And I wouldn't say that us saying right now, we can't afford to relocate offices, so until funds are there and we have some of the bigger ticket items addressed in the district, this is what we're going to do to address the safety issues at Grammar Number 2, which would be a fenced-in corridor for guests to bring them to the door. I don't think that that's dictating how they operate their school. I think it's finding a solution that's affordable now so that we make sure as a board, if something goes out down the road, we have the money to address the issue and we don't have to close a school down because we don't have the money to address the heat issue or whatever the issue is.
I think in a training once, you guys were told, don't worry about the weeds too much. You either have the money or you don't. And I think that's the decision you each need to make right now is, do we have the money or do we not? And if you collectively decide we do not, and you want to give me and him a little direction to look into some other options, because we don't think we have the money for this, then that's what you tell us. But I think that's what, I feel like that's kind of what Josh was saying is we either have it or we don't. Make that decision to do it or don't do it. And then from there, we figure out what's another option. And then that gets into, the flow of traffic and all that. That's all for other people to figure out.
And this item is just to go out to bid, right?
Correct. Yeah, I wanted, to separate this so you guys had, chance to have a discussion, talk about it, and think about how you wanted to move forward with this. So I didn't want to keep them bundled together. I wanted them separate for you guys.
Great. What is the pleasure of the board?
I just want to say one more thing, that if, God forbid, something was to happen, nobody's going to care whether we tried to save money to buy a boiler later, just so we all know. So nobody's going to care when the safety has been brought up. This is brought up on an official or from our official organization, our insurance as well. And so they're not going to care about us going back and forth over gates or anything if this becomes a problem too as well. And now we have identified it officially. So now it's out there. It's not like it's just someone saying, oh, hey, there might be a problem over there. Like, it's official that we have it and we've been talking about it for quite a bit. So now we're vulnerable because it has become public knowledge. So just throwing that out there.
Teresa, did you have something?
Yes.
Okay.
So, this item is just to go out for bid. I do think the safety of our students is essential. I've sat through lots of safety training meetings over the years I've been on the board, and the things that districts can do to, harden their campuses when they need to be hardened should be done. I think we should go out to bid on this. And if it comes in and it's $2 million, then we have to look at funding and say, okay, what can we do different? But if it comes back and it's close to this, or, maybe all the stars will align and it would be less than this, I doubt it. I think the safety of our students has to be a priority. So that being said, I move that we grant permission to go out to bid for the Grammar Number 2 office relocation.
Second.
Okay, motion and second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Just say the only reason I'm voting nay is I think that we do have a major budget issue in our district right now as far as capital improvement projects go. I think this is definitely a need that needs to be addressed. I think there are probably solutions that would cost less that could put us in a better financial position down the road for any other kind of emergencies that show up.
Thank you. Chair votes nay, or sorry, chair votes aye as well. Motion passes with 1 nay. Thank you very much, Matt. If you'd like to go to, and the rest of the update, facilities and construction update that we've already kind of started talking about, the floor is yours.
Okay. Do we want to talk about Grammer's boiler? I mean, I think we kind of talked about it, but if there's any more questions.
The boiler itself is for HVAC within the building, not hot water heater. Correct. So with the boiler shut down, unless we get
still
a
have hot
really,
domestic water, yes.
right, and unless we get a really cold snap coming through, we're probably going to be okay for a few months while we go through the hot part of our year, correct?
If we got cold again, we'd just go down there and replace the parts that we need to replace.
Okay.
I'm just, we're all trying to pinch our pennies and be conservative. And so it's just.
Thank you for band-aiding it until the right time of year for it to go down. Good job.
I didn't do anything. Victor down there does an amazing job. He's the building superintendent down there.
Well done, Victor.
Yes, he's an amazing superintendent, so.
Any other questions on Grammar 2's boiler project? Okay, go ahead, Matt.
So I think I worked with Lana Carter. She's a local engineer here. She originally did a design for, well, the building and the parking lot. So I touched base with her because she's a really great lady and I really want to the district start working again with her. And so I found the original plans for the parking lot and I reached back out to her to get like an updated cost estimate for our parking lot because we all pull up here. We all know, don't drive into that big crater. And I just wanted to put it on basically put it on our capital improvement plan. It's going to have to happen someday, but I just was, kind of giving you guys an update basically. So it's not anything that I'm super worried about, but eventually it's going to have to happen. And her cost estimate was $540,000 to $600,000 for the parking lot. So it'll have to be completely ripped up, all new asphalt, probably base issues. A lot of the concrete valley gutters are going to have to all be replaced. So it's a large project. So.
And that's why it's more expensive than all of the other asphalt rehabilitation that we just devoted.
Yeah, so we can't, this Central was actually on the agenda this year to be sealed, but I'm not going to waste money on this parking lot. So it's just what it is and it'll degrade and go into gravel basically someday. And hopefully we get a new parking lot. So.
Thank you.
Like I said, Old Central roof bids out May 8th. We had 4 contractors show up. So I think hopefully we get some good prices and they're all pretty excited about the project. So we'll find out May 8th and I'll be coming back to you guys on the 16th and we'll go from there. And then kind of like I said, again, with the boilers at Elko High and Jackpot, we just kind of got to a stage where we kind of have a design, have a plan, but we're just going to hold off to see, what the matching funds are going to be, what our funds are going to be, how much we're going to get back from the county and where we're going to go. And so I'm just going through each school and trying to prioritize what really needs to happen and what we can Band-Aid for a few years and just keep limping everything along. So.
Thanks, Matt. Comments or questions for Mr. Stolke? All righty. Thank you, sir. 3.01 is our consent agenda.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Motion on the table with a second. Any further discussion?
Who second?
Susan seconded.
Thank you.
All right. With no discussion, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you, Jeff. Chair votes aye as well. Motion passes. 4.01 is our superintendent's report. Mr. Anderson.
Hello. Let's see, just some updates for you. I've obviously catching up from being on for a week, but I sent you all those legislative updates and how things are progressing there. It's hard to believe that the legislative session is almost over, but it's coming soon. So, but there is a lot of movement right now with, where there were multiple bills that were on several, that kind of had some similar threads and veins. Those things sometimes get combined. And as we've seen in legislative sessions, there are things that get heard and passed very quickly, almost overnight. And so we're always remaining vigilant and keeping an eye on those. And we continue to get fiscal notes and asked as recently as this morning for input on, for example, there's a bill regarding how schools interact with immigration agents, which we just talked about at our last meeting. There's legislation about that they're looking at right now. So it's always ongoing. We'll try to keep you posted as those things go, instead of waiting 2 weeks to see you at a board meeting. So, but don't need to go through all that in a public meeting. Some things to keep you updated on. About 2 to 2.5 weeks ago, something like that, we interviewed for and chose a new principal for Spring Creek Elementary. Some of you may know Chrissy Blanchard. She is a vice principal at Liberty Peak right now, and at the end of this year, she will be moving to become the principal of Spring Creek Elementary. Chrissy has been an awesome vice principal. I know Liberty Peak's going to miss her, and Principal Steenson over there is going to miss her, but she's more than ready for this job, and she's going to do a great job. We're really excited about her doing that, and we're going to miss Carrie Gregory. She's the principal there now, but retiring, and so we'll say goodbye to Carrie, or say see you later, Carrie, and congratulate Chrissy Blanchard. We over the next 2 to 3 weeks, we have some other principal positions we'll be interviewing for, and have some exciting new leadership opportunities in Elko County School District. So we're excited for those new opportunities. A couple weeks ago, we also had and I know this has taken almost all year, but we have things happening. We had our cell phone policy meeting with a committee of about 10 people or so. Went really well. A good combination of student, parent, teachers. Mac, our director of IT, was there. A whole bunch of folks that were excellent contributors to the conversation, giving a lot of feedback, and we'll be working on that. We're going to meet again next week to continue that process, and hopefully have something for you by about the time we head into summer, and we can start give principals and teachers and schools time to figure out how to properly implement that. So that's moving forward. I don't know how many of you, if you were able to go to the ECSD art show, but it was great at the Northeastern Nevada Museum. It's kind of fun to see the spectrum of what a kindergartner and Wells produced in Mr. Spears' class to the astonishing works of art that come out of our graduating seniors. Like just that progression is amazing. So I appreciate all the hard work that it's no mystery that I'm a fan of the arts, and I've never been good at art, like the drawing and paintings and things like that, but I sure do love them, and the kids did a great job. It was really kind of the coolest thing for me, other than obviously how great it was to see their work, and I got to see my niece's work. She was posted there, but I realized that at a moment when I was walking down, because it's upstairs in the museum, and I'm walking into this row, and on the right-hand side, I see these paintings, and I look to my left, and it's Ansel Adams photography. And just to have those kids have their works of art posted by Ansel Adams, and just imagine what can be that kind of thing. It's awesome. And so they did a great job. Thank you to, I saw art from pretty much every school represented there. And so thanks to all of our art teachers all across the district who who submitted those and to the kids who did a great job. On the topic of arts, a week from today, there will be a neat event at the Performing Arts Building. It's Elko Jazz Fest. If you remember last year, I had to dart out of here to go perform a song at the Jazz Festival. Next week, I'll be doing a couple songs there. So if you want to come have a good time, it's always fun. And obviously the best part of that is not that I'll be singing. That'll probably be more funny than great. But the best part is those kids get to rehearse with professional musicians that are brought in from all around the region and the country. And that's an opportunity you can't buy that. It's due to the connections that our band director, Mr. Harold, has and people being willing to give that opportunity to play alongside the high school students. And so a great opportunity for them. And so if you're available next Tuesday night at 7:00, I think it's a couple hours long, but it should be great. And we'll have other well-known personalities from across town that you'll recognize and other staff members from ECSD. They'll be performing there as well. So pretty great, good event. And then I think it was at our last board meeting that you all, was it the last one or the one before? Can't remember, but you approved to go out to have an RFP for our food service provider. And today and tomorrow, we have been conducting today and we'll continue into tomorrow, pre-proposal meetings and site visits from interested providers. So they've been with us all day today and they'll be visiting tomorrow. And I think they're going to the extremes of our district. They're heading out to Hawaii. They're heading all over the place so they can truly understand. Because it's one thing to say, you have to drive an hour and a half to get to one of our schools, and it's another to put you in a car and take you out there and see what the school layout is and what the difficulties are, so they have a realistic view of what that's going to look like. So sounds like things went well today, and we'll continue to do that tomorrow and hopefully have something for you, again, before the end of this school year so we can start making those plans for next year. And obviously, just a ton of great, this is such a fun time of year between, wrapping up spring sports, all the award ceremonies that are going on, scholarships, graduations coming soon, just lots of fun events that are happening. I did want to share just a couple of pretty great things that have come across my inbox recently. One of those was that our local hospital, NNRH, was gracious enough to provide an industry tour for our Elko High School nursing assistant students. And one of those students just accepted a job offer to be a CNA in women's services at the hospital. Since she starts in mid-May, and 2 other students have submitted applications after having the tour last week. So these are kids who are in a CTE program and have secured and are in the process of securing jobs to be a CNA at our local hospital, giving back to our community and applying directly applying what they've learned in school immediately in Elko County School District. So you got something you want to say, Josh?
I just want to add to that, Ignite Life Chiropractic is doing it as well. We have Miss Victoria that is with us, and she actually just accepted a job for the summer too. So you don't have to be a giant hospital to do it. You can be a small business too. So it's a great program, but good kudos to them as well. So
awesome. I thought you were going to say CT is the future. That's even better.
Well, I mean, if we wanted to the cherry on that, CT is the future.
All right, perfect. The other thing I wanted to share just as one more great thing that hopefully puts a smile on your face. So we have within our district, we have our incentive grants, and then we also have NGM who provides grants for, it's usually schools submit those. So like a counselor or a teacher, a principal, the staff of a school might submit something for a project. Throughout this year, one of our teachers, Dr. Wallach over at Elko High School, he's a math teacher and also teaches a STEM class, and it's like applied STEM. And back, I think it was in the fall, for the fall NGM grants, those kids, under the direction of Dr. Wallach, wrote little micro grants for projects that they wanted to do. And NGM was very impressed with those grants, and we weren't able to award them all, but several of them were. And in the last couple of weeks, and part of those micro grants was not just that they would be able to do something cool in class, but every single one of those had a commitment for those high school kids to take these micro grant projects that they were passionate about and take those to elementary schools to get other kids, little kids excited to teach them about whatever it was their topic was. And so among those little micro grants that were awarded, there are two that I've been getting frequent updates on. One of those is, let's see if I can, wonder if I can share this. Yeah, there we go. So one of those is a dissection lab. So this thing up here is not the dissection lab, but that's, you guys have been there before. That's Elko High School. So the dissection lab, they took these raw creatures and took them around to different elementary schools, and the high school students, sorry. I've been speaking Spanish nonstop for the last week and a half, and so I am still readjusting. I apologize. And I'm thinking of the market I went to that had raw guinea pigs all out in front of me. So that was the first thing I thought. I apologize. You knew what I meant. Anyway, I continue to struggle through language. And the high school kids led elementary school students in dissections, which was amazing. And then the other one I want to share. So that one was called, it was called dissection outreach. And they did those at the middle school, and maybe it was just middle school, maybe it wasn't elementary, I can't remember. But they worked with younger students to get them excited. And then the other one was called, I think it was called Beyond the S.T.A.R.S. Yeah, it was called Beyond the S.T.A.R.S. And so the page you're on right here is called planetariums-database.org. And Elko High School's STEM Outreach Planetarium is one of 5 planetariums in all of Nevada, and it's the only mobile planetarium in the state. This link that's here, and I can forward it to you if you'd like it, but it's got, it's got all the information about Elko High School's highlighted here, but it's got some pictures about the work they're doing, and this, if I'm not mistaken, that looks like the gym of grammar number 2, or maybe that's that's the old gym at the high school, isn't it? Yes, that's the old gym at the high school. But similarly, once they got their ducks in a row here, they took their show on the road, and tomorrow they're going to be at Mountain View, and then in a week or two they're going to be at Northside and Southside and Liberty Peak, and they're taking one of only 5 planetariums in the state of Nevada, and the only one that's mobile, to elementary schools around our district, and they are guiding elementary school kids through what they've learned in this STEM class. And sorry, I didn't mean to dwell on that picture for too long, but it was a wonderful picture. I'm sure she would be delighted to know that it was on the screen for that long. Real application of knowledge, again, in our STEM class with Dr. Wallach. So, the kudos to him for not only, like, everything about what I said is cool. Each one of those things on their own is a pretty neat thing to do, right? Even just to write a micro grant for a junior or a senior in high school to learn how to write a grant is a super valuable experience in and of itself. But then to have it awarded, to take them through every single step, and then to pass that knowledge on to younger students, it's an incredible thing. So I know if Heather Steele were in here, she would be squealing with delight that these things are going on in our CTE classes, but it's important that we know the amazing things that our students are doing, and they're leading all of this, which is truly impressive. So kudos to Dr. Wallach, and kudos to all those students. And if I think you've seen the invitations to the schools, maybe I believe you were on some of those emails. If you've lost it or you want to know again, just let me know, and if you have that opportunity to go see it in action, we'd love to have you be there for it. So, and with that, unless you have questions for me, I'm gonna be done.
Thank you, CJ. Questions, comments?
I have a question.
Yes.
How much influence do we have on the food or food product that's put to bid with the school lunch program?
When you say we,
I'm saying, like, if we're going to approve it, I would instantly approve a more food than food product or highly processed food.
Gotcha. So I don't want to speak out of turn. My experience has been if we were running our own food service system, then where we did everything and we weren't outsourcing it to a third party, then I think we'd have a lot more control. That's not to say that we can't work with our provider because they are, I mean, they're there to serve us and work with us how we want to, how we want to have our food service program run. But the idea is once they turn in a proposal with whatever numbers locked in, right, any deviation from that. So if we say, well, you know, we want this all to be whole grain, organic, whatever, like you lay out all those things, that obviously impacts the, you know, the cost of meals and what that's going to look like. And they also have to stay within certain bounds of what the Nevada Department of Agriculture says constitutes a meal and calories and balancing certain things. So they have to make it all work within in a system and in a way that's, I hate to say it this way, that's still profitable for them because they're
Totally
their
get it.
business. And so, yeah,
I guess
we can make our wishes known, I guess is what
Yeah.
I'm saying. But if it's not going to be financially feasible, they won't.
I just, you know, in the spirit of mental health, there's plenty of studies that show that proper food, not food product, is beneficial both for mental health, but also when we talk about disciplinary issues or acting out. There's been whole studies done at schools that show that when they have the proper nutrition, that they proper nutrition, not just a bunch of minerals or whatever. And we're also showing that ultra processed food is killing more people in America than just about anything right now. So if we can eliminate that from this position, we can make it known from this position, and then we can further propagate that, that would be fantastic. And so I know that there's confines from federal and state, and then there's also the business side of things. But if somebody doesn't say something, then it won't even be brought up. And so that would be something fantastic if we can put more food in front of kids instead of food product. That would be great too as well. So anyways, so I just wanted to see where we're at with that. And then is there any way we can throw the agenda and any of the accessory stuff up on our screen? When I go to the county board and I go to other boards, it's
Oh,
on
like
the
you don't want me
screen.
to do it right now. You're saying.
Well, no, not right now. I'm just
Okay.
saying in
I was
general.
like, sure, I'll do
Yeah,
it.
you're like, let's do it right now.
Gotcha.
No,
I hear
not
what
just
you're
right
saying.
now, but like in future meetings, can we just make it a regular occurrence to have
One of the monitors
in
designated.
Microsoft, you can split a screen, so you can put the agenda on the one side, zoom in, and then on the other side, zoom into whatever the extra. That would be fantastic. And I know that it becomes cumbersome when we throw PowerPoints on it, but if we could just have it up there.
Yeah, I was gonna make a note, but I know Mac is listening right now, so
Yeah.
he hears and don't answer right now, Mac. You don't have to
Yeah,
come
that's
in with
okay.
the voice of
I
God
just
from the
was- it
ceiling,
was-
but I'll talk to him about it.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Keep in mind that the county also has a dedicated person to scroll through that and to run the computers as needed. And I'm not saying we can't.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that control is something that we're going to have to make sure that we allocate.
For
I
sure.
don't think Mac should need to necessarily control from
I like
afar,
their touchscreen thing they do there
Yeah.
too when I'm presenting up there. It's nice.
but just throwing that out. Any other comments or questions for Mr. Anderson?
I don't know if this is possible, but if, because I know our food service solicitation isn't due until a couple days after our next board meeting. If possible, do you want me to kind of ask if the people who are interested would like to come give a presentation on their food quality, food products comparison?
I don't want to say no, but I know that previous have like put this wonderful tray in front of us. And then when I got pictures about what we were serving to our kids, it was distinctly different.
Yeah.
So I know what can be set up here. And hey, we had a great binder that we looked at the last one we did. And again, when I got pictures of what was being served, it was not necessarily what was in that binder. So like I'm happy to listen to what they want to say and the promises associated with it. But again, actions speak louder than words. And so that's kind of where we're running into, right? The guidelines for our food that we serve to our kids. I'm sure a lot of those people weren't sitting up there evil maniacal, but then when it came to implementing those, it became cumbersome when you start throwing in multiple people. So, but if we can even do it in our district, it could help so many kids when they get real food, which then helps the future. There's so much impact that we can have with the food. So.
Gotcha.
Anything else for CJ? All right, I was going to bring this up during my board comments, but since we're on the food thing, the other thing, CJ, that I'd like some more definition of, if you could let prospective bidders know, is what snacks are going to be offered and how we can prevent snacks taking the place of a full meal. Because I've been doing walkarounds with schools, as Susan, I know, and I've heard that now, I think from 2 or 3 different schools, that snacks seem to, especially in the youngest grades, a first grader doesn't understand what 20 minutes means. And if you give them the option of a Rice Krispie treat or a full meal, they're going to eat the Rice Krispie treat and then they throw the full meal away because their 20 minutes is up. And that's what they're living on for, not living on, but that's what that impacts, like Josh said, everything else. So I just would like to hear what that is. I understand also that's where money comes from. So I get that too, but that would be great to hear. Thank you.
I just
Okay.
have to say,
Oh, please.
I added $30 into my son's account on my school bucks and got a notification that he had a low balance. And I said, how do you have a low balance? You've never had hot lunch. He's been buying snacks. He's been buying Pop-Tarts and Rice Krispie treats to add to the lunch he packs from home.
Okay, so now that I've taken that part out, we'll go to 5.01 for the items for the board members. And Mr. White, to give you a little bit of time, we'll start with Ms. Astrup and walk down or move. Actually, no, let's start with Mr. Durham, and then we'll go to the board, and you'll kind of roll up at the end if that's all right. Go ahead, Jeff.
Well, happy to jump in. I'm going to keep my comments brief because I'm remote. I do have some legislative updates that I'll be sharing in the next meeting, and I'm going to be getting some more information. Hope to see most of you in Virginia City for the training and meetings and stuff next weekend. Boy, nothing really else to add. I'm just thankful the technology we do have. I'm somewhere in the Pacific right now, but happy to be able to join you. So. Again, I'll have more updates for you legislatively at the next meeting, and just, great discussions tonight. I appreciate everything.
Thanks, Jeff. Safe travels and enjoy once we're off the line here.
Oh, I will.
Teresa.
All right, and Jeff covered the NASB training this upcoming weekend. I don't know if Susan will have anything to add about that. I will not be there because I will be at state track watching, but good luck to all of our spring athletes as they go to regionals and state in their respective sports. And we'd love to see some state titles come home and get to, have them come to the board meeting and congratulate them. So good luck to our athletes, and, graduation is quickly approaching. So we're excited for that as well.
Thank you, Josh.
I feel like I should say something, but life continues to be great. This is a great position. It's awesome when we have all these students that are doing so many wonderful things across sports and science and arts, and there's so many teachers and administrators doing wonderful things for them. And so I just appreciate the opportunity to be able to serve this community, and thank you for all of them who are doing it. I will not be at the event as well. I have family in town that weekend, and it is Mother's Day, and I'm sad to say that in the past I may have missed it for continuing ed, and so I have to make up for it this year. So, but excited for graduation. That's going to be fun too. And as everything starts to warm up, it's going to be great. So make sure you get out and get your sun, ground your feet, bare feet on grass or dirt, and drink lots of clean, healthy water.
Thank you, Josh, for not saying anything. Susan.
I've been on a tour of the county schools, and I've really enjoyed getting out there and talking to admin and teachers. And speaking of that, it is Teacher Appreciation Week, so thank you to all those teachers out there that are doing their best every day. And it's also Nurses Day, so thank you to all the nurses we have in our district, which we are fortunate to have. Then on another note, NASB Awards, just kind of keep thinking of those in your head. I'm just going to keep saying that for a little while until it gets a little closer. So if you can't think of someone, or it just kind of gives you some time to think. So that's it.
Thank you, Susan. Brooke.
I guess I should turn on my mic. I just also wanted to say thank you to all the teachers. I know it's Teacher Appreciation Week, and during the school year, these teachers get to see my kids more than I do, it feels like. And so I'm just very appreciative for everything that they do. for all of our children and students. They're amazing. We have some really amazing teachers in our district. I've just recently had a conversation with a mom who said that when her son found out that a teacher might be moving, she said his attitude completely changed, like his demeanor and everything. He just was so upset this teacher was going to be moving. And then turns out the teacher didn't move, and she said you could just see the life kind of come back into it, her son, and just the impact that that teacher had on her son's life. And I just think it's incredible to see how good these teachers are in our district and how much of a role they play in our students' lives and in their well-being and learning. The other thing that I wanted to add is I would like to see policy JDAD on our next agenda. And it's gender-based discrimination, harassment, bullying of students prohibited. And there's some stuff that I feel needs to be revised in this policy. The NIAA just voted to keep women in women's sports and males out of girls' sports. And I think that we need to revise our policy to match that, plus what's being handed down to us federally. And I just want to, I cannot remember the girls' names that came into our board meeting, but I remember 2 girl athletes came into our board meeting probably a year ago and talked to us as a board about how they had to compete against a male in Reno when they went to compete. I believe it was in track. And so I think I'm really proud of our NIAA for the way that they voted, and I hope that as a school board we can show our support for female athletes, not only in sports, but in private spaces.
Thank you. Brooke, along those lines, before we turn it over to you, Rhett, if you have specific language that you would like changed, if you and I can get together on that, we can then put that forth before we put it on an agenda, since it is a first read, second read. I'd like to get it before legal and of course district folks as well. So it's just gonna take a little bit of time. Can't guarantee it'll be on the next one, but the sooner we can get together to get proposed language back to the district, back to legal, then the sooner we can get it on the agenda. Thank you.
And in the meantime, I'll also check in with the legal counsel and say, hey, in light of X things that have occurred, what sort of things do we maybe need to consider changing our policy? So I'll start to go down that road as well.
This was just a quick search in our policies. Any other policies that might be related to female spaces or sports? I think we need to make sure that all of those policies are revised.
I just want to say, Brooke, that I'm fully behind you. A lot of times you put, that's a controversial topic, and I don't want you to feel like, so thank you for bringing that up. I just haven't looked into it, and so just wanted you to know you're not alone, so thank you.
Okay, Mr. White.
Just talking about my personal school experiences right now. Last week we had our Teacher Appreciation Week, and a lot of people really liked it. We just kind of did a dress up days, like where teachers dress up as students and students dress up as teachers. It's always kind of fun to see. I remember one of our teachers, Mr. Knotts, he dressed up as a student. He was walking around the hallways with the backpack on, and it was really fun. But yeah, so that week, last week was a really fun week for that, for teacher appreciation. This week is Mental Health Awareness Week. So dressing up in certain colors to, represent certain, mental health, mental health awareness. So that's this week, and that's always really fun. Looking forward, we have prom coming up soon on the 23rd, that was always a good fun thing to look forward to. And then we also have an activity Spring Creek High School does called Spartancella, and that one's really fun. It's kind of a music festival our school puts on, where local bands can play, in front of their kind of fellow classmates, and it's a really cool experience. I always look forward to it every year, and so this year is no different. As of right now, I'm competing in track, and so working this weekend, we compete at regionals, Northern Regionals, and then the following weekend, we compete in the state championships, and that's always really exciting. I'm excited to see how our team does in that area. I'm personally in the distance, area for events, so I run the mile, 2 mile, 800, those events, and it's always exciting to compete in those events. And so I'm looking forward to those, those competitions. And it's awesome to kind of just the year's coming to an end, but it's always goes out in a bang, and it's kind of in a high energy state right now. So it's really cool to be part of that. Thank you.
Great, thank you, yes.
Thank
Best
you.
of luck. And echoing what Teresa said, not only good luck to you, but good luck to the rest of our competitors, our athletic competitors as well. Echoing what was said, happy Teachers Appreciation Day, Nurses Day, and I know that there were a number of, I think there's an admin day that either has happened or will happen, and it's all kind of condensed into a very quick time here, so not leaving out anyone. We appreciate what our staff, both classified and certified, do. So thank you very much for all of them. And yeah, I've also been kind of making a tour. I've not been able to go much outside Elko Spring Creek yet, but it is good to get and visit with our administrators and be able to make sure that we're doing what we should do as a board. And I'm very happy that when I visited with the administrators, I usually start off making the appointment by saying, what is the board doing that is good? What are we doing that's hampering you? What do we need to do to make you or your team be able to produce more outstanding students? And the good news is that they like what we're doing. We're not doing anything that really hampers them, and the things that they need us to do are pretty much out of our control. We can't control what the State Department of Ed does, can't control what testing or truancy or any of that fun stuff is to a degree. So again, I'm very proud of what our board has done. So thank you very much for what we are doing, because it seems like either the admin's not being honest with me or we're doing a decent job. So I tend to think that it's the second part of that. So thank you very much. With that, we will go into 6.01, which is approval of the accounts payable.
Move to approve the accounts payable.
Second.
All right, motion on the floor with Dr. Byers and Ms. Dastrup seconding.
Are we
Any
doing
discussion?
both of them? Sorry.
Yeah, so a good question. Do you want to do both, or do you want to
No,
break
sorry,
Jeff
yeah,
out?
let me move. So let's move to approve the board docs 05.06.2025, the first one there. Are you okay with that amendment? Okay.
All right, so we'll keep that first one as the full accounts payable. Further discussion? Any disclosures of record?
I will disclose that I have a family member who works for Wells Rural Electric, but I won't be abstaining from voting.
And I have the same disclosure. So I will also not be abstaining.
Okay, thank you for the disclosures, but not abstentions. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye as well. Motion passes. Is there a motion for the second one, which includes Mr. Durham's payment?
So go ahead. You want to split? Sure.
go.
Yeah, I was just gonna make the motion to approve the board member Durham 05.06.2025.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Disclosures or abstentions of record?
Obviously,
All right.
I'll be abstaining. Those are my expenses related to the trip to Atlanta for the National School Board Association regarding my mileage and my per diems for meals.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you very much. Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye as well. Motion passes. Thank you for the abstention, Mr. Durham. 7.01 is the final opportunity for input from the public. All right, seeing none at 7:05, we are adjourning. Our next meeting will be in 2 weeks, which I show as the 20th of May. Have a great night, everyone. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
And again, safe travels, Jeff. Thank you. Have fun.